Hi, I'm Susan Doerr with the University of Minnesota Press, and I'm pleased to talk today about Manifold, which is a partnership project between the City University of New York's Digital Humanities Center, the GC Digital Scholarship Lab, and then we have a technology partner, Cast Iron Coating, which is located in Portland, Oregon. And this is all funded by the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation. So some of the problems that we were seeking to address with Manifold is that scholarship is increasingly digital. Digital humanities projects are inherently digital, and yet we haven't given them good, validated publication outcomes on the web through university presses, aside from ebooks. But ebook formats really replicate print today. They don't do more. They don't transform that publishing. And so that's what we seek to do, is offer a new publication outcome. And we need solutions that scale. Part of the experiment, we'll see if Manifold in fact scales. But we hope it will, and we hope that we'll be able to create a tool set that other publishers can then use and adopt to publish in similar ways. At Minnesota, we have gone through an evolution of our digital publishing. It started with the Quadrant project, also funded by Mellon. And what Quadrant did is it created a website where scholars could post additional resources to their books. But it didn't really transform the nature of the book or the project itself. It just was ancillary resources. We did a prototype to Manifold called Debates in the Digital Humanities. Debates is a website, and I'll get to that in my next slide, a book, and it is interactive with commenting and annotation on the website, but then we're also selling the print book. Forerunners Ideas First is a series. It's 15 to 30,000 word essays that scholars are, if they're work in progress. A lot of these are becoming full monographs, but it gives them a formal publication outcome for work that may have appeared on a blog, or it may have been a conference paper, but it didn't have a formal university press publication outcome prior to that. And then now we are into Manifold. With the Debates in the Digital Humanities, this wasn't meant to be a prototype, it was meant to be a project, but of course it evolved into Manifold. With the simultaneous print ebook and open access edition, which is hosted at CUNY, we're able to offer lots of different ways for readers to come into the book. Even with an open access edition, which has had quite a lot of use on CUNY's site, we've still sold almost 4,000 copies of this book in paperback. So it's something that we consider a success. That's a good book for us at a university press. With the objectives of Manifold, we want to rethink the process for iterative publication. Scholars work iteratively. They are doing research projects, and yet they don't have ways to publish as they go. Instead, they've always delivered us a final manuscript, and we have transformed that to publish it as a book. We would like to offer them ways to publish as they go. They can publish this chapter. They can publish this paper. They have a text. They have research notes that they would like to formally communicate and get feedback on. So Manifold will do that. As presses, one of the things that we do is create efficiencies. We also create scalable and replicable process. So we want to create with Manifold those things for iterative publication. They have rich archives of digital materials. They may appear on their own websites. We would like to integrate those into the book, and that's where the platform of Manifold will offer them the opportunity to do that. And we'd also like to offer them interaction with the communities who are reading their books. And then really important, Manifold is a publishing platform. You do not work to do your author activity in the site. You do that elsewhere, and then you come and work with your editor and the production team will publish that on the site. But the authors aren't in there typing in their research, their work. It is a publishing platform. So it is a platform. It's built for authors and publishers, and you can, of course, read on it. But again, just reinforcing that it is a publishing tool, not an authoring tool. So we've come up with a statement about what Manifold is. It's the last three words that really got us excited. We want these to be living digital works. We want these things to change and evolve over time. Print books are wonderful things, but they are static. And we want to get away from the static publication and get into something that is dynamic. So when we load a book into Manifold, we load EPUBs. And the reason we chose EPUB at this point is because it's a production output that we're already creating. It doesn't require that a press change their publication practice. If you can get to EPUB, you can publish in Manifold. We break that apart into nodes of content, and then we put it back together within the platform. There's an ingest tool that's been built, and it takes about 90 seconds to load an EPUB. We did a test of taking a Google Doc, creating it with their new EPUB creator, and loading it into Manifold, and it worked pretty well. So there are lots of different ways to get to EPUB and then put it into Manifold. I won't talk about the technical choices we've made for the platform. Instead, I'll suggest that you go read the post that Zach wrote on manifold.umn.edu. That's our blog. Zach Davis is the principal at Cast Iron Coding, and he's put a lot of thought into the things that we are using to both build and publish with Manifold. So it's this new dynamic publication output. We're calling it the Manifold Edition, but really it's an interactive, iterative edition. It's both networked and it will evolve over time. One of the really important things about Manifold as we came into the project is defining what things are. And so when a project is in Manifold, it is a project. There is a book that will also result from the work, but they are projects, in fact, with books as one outcome of them. And those projects encompass more than just the text of a book. Another of our definitions is version. What is a version? So a version would be if you change one of the elements and it becomes different, but an iteration is the element itself. We spent a lot of time on definitions with this project. So here's some examples of different iterations. This happens to be for some work on a North Dakota oil fields project that some anthropologists on our campus are doing. But they've done field notes. They have 10,000 photographs, which actually we won't put all 10,000 up. But they have so many different resources that they would like to communicate with people. And so we're building ways for them to be able to do that. Resources can include anything that you can post to the web. And then while you can go to the resource section of this, we can also integrate it within the text of the EPUB on the site. When you are on the main page of the library, we're offering the ability for readers to follow a project. So as iterations are added to a project, they'll get a notification that something has changed. And then with the wireframes, we would like to keep a date with each project so you can see the last time something was updated. This is a final project. Some of the key elements that make you know it's final is you can start reading. So there is a text to read. It has a cover. One of the things that we're trying to distinguish is a project that's in progress. It might not have a final book cover yet versus something that has been formally published. And the cover is one of the visual indicators that something has reached that release version stage. But reading is just one of the things you can do. We want you to be able to annotate. We want you to be able to discuss and talk. We would like to integrate, as we can, social media into the conversations. So here is a wireframe of the base EPUB text with a media element added in this case a video. You can annotate, you can highlight, you can see that there's the start of a conversation with a comment. And we're building all of this in. A lot of people have asked us if we're using hypothesis, and we are not, but if you are a hypothesis user, you could certainly layer hypothesis over the Manifold page and use it, and that's a choice that readers can make. But we are integrating all of the annotation and conversation into Manifold because we'd like that information. We want to know how and what people are doing within the site. But we're also tracking the social media conversations. So through APIs, we're going to have an activity monitor for things that are happening socially around the book outside of Manifold, and then representing that visually here within the site. Of course, we want you to be able to read on any device. But one of the key points to Manifold is that it is a web-based platform, and you need to be connected to the internet to be able to read on it. So that is one of its limitations. Hopefully, over time, maybe we can do something to resolve that. But for now, you do need an internet connection. So we have a blog where different people involved in the project occasionally post about what we're doing. We are on Twitter. We're also occasional there. And then all of the code is open source, and it is on GitHub at Manifold Scholar. You're quite welcome to go take a look at it if you are so inclined. And you're welcome to contact me if you have any questions. Thank you.